Hey everybody, it's Ezra, and welcome to the Ask Ezra Podcast, where we take people with real challenges and apply real intimacy coaching. Today, we're going to be speaking with Nik and Melissa. Now, Nik and Melissa have a relationship where one of them has more experience in BDSM than the other. Also, Nik is really interested in learning how to develop some hard skills, and both of them are interested in learning how do you be a dominant without being a dick. And we'll also explore the difference between dominating and topping and a whole host of other things. So join me for a session already in progress. There's a disparity in experience between the two of you, right?
With BDSM stuff, I would say yes.
Yeah.
As in, Melissa probably has more experience than
Okay.
I do.
Yeah.
Cool. And then Melissa, you identify as a bottom or a switch, or how do you identify?
I would be a switch.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm a more, it's been a long time since I've been kind of the top role.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of explore that a little bit in our relationship, but what I want is definitely more of like a switch thing. Yeah.
Sure. And Nik, do you sort of know how you identify, or is that still something
I do. I would definitely call myself a switch as well. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I like to get fucked in the ass, so I feel like that probably makes me a switch.
Well, not necessarily. Not necessarily.
Yes,
you could be like, so it's funny. So we like to make the distinction between top, bottom, and dom sub, right?
Right.
So if I was like, yeah, fuck me in the ass, do it harder, right? Like, who's really in charge? Right.
Yeah.
Right. So
Exactly.
I might be bottoming. I might be receiving the action, but I'm definitely dominating the situation.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Okay.
So, so activities are top and bottom, like an activity part. The top does the activity to the bottom, but with dom sub dynamics, we're really relegating decision making to one partner.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah.
And I would say probably still switch for both.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. And do you feel like that's a good balance? Is there any, like, does it feel good to you guys, or does it generate conflict ever?
No, I feel like I'm trying to be more comfortable with being dominant, because I want to be more dominant, but I don't want to be scary or off-putting, you know?
Yeah.
And I wouldn't say that there's friction, but I would say that part of where we are with this impasse with getting into like flogging or caning, because Melissa's got the toys and whatnot, is that I'll bring it up and be like, hey, we should do that. And Melissa's like, hey, we should do that too. But neither one of us is really like I'm not like, hey, I'm going to do that to you right now. You know?
Yeah. And for me with that, like, I know with flogging and caning, I've been the receiver for those things. I've never been the giver, but for receiving, I just know that you have to be really careful, because I like a really hard impact. You know, I'm not really into the soft kind of playful flogging. I like the hard impact, and I just know there's certain areas of your back and like the spine and certain areas you're not supposed to hit. And I've been hit in those areas before, and it's really painful. And I feel like maybe that might be an underlying worry for me, just jumping into it without really knowing how to talk to Nik about it.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So I think if we felt more comfortable knowing the safety of it all, then I think we would actually jump into it. You know?
Yeah. So caning safety is super straightforward. So you want to cane meat.
Yes.
You don't want to cane bones, and you don't want to cane organs.
Yes,
I can do this.
Yeah. So you can absolutely do it. So
so the places that are less painful to get tattooed, aka the fleshier parts of the body.
Sure. If you can poke it,
I can do that.
And you don't feel bone, and you know it's not in between the bottom of the rib cage and the top of the hips, then it's good. You know, we all have different musculature. So like some people over the ribs is a problem. Other people it's not, right? But like the thighs, for example, are great. You got like anywhere from like 8 to 15 inches or something between the hip and the knee. That's all good. There's like plenty of meat there, right? And the other thing that we want to be aware of with caning is start low, go slow, right? So
start low on the body.
Yeah, no. Start low as intensity. Start low in your intensity and then build up, but build up slowly, right?
Okay. Yeah.
One thing I love to do is torture my partner with anticipation.
Okay.
Right. So you think about it, there's like a potential for psychological torture here. And it's easy to just go like whack, right? And just hit really hard. What's more challenging is to go like tap, 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 tap. You know what I mean? Like build slowly. And what you're going to do is prepare the body for those sensations and also like get some of those endorphins going before you get hit really hard, so that by the time you do get hit really hard, you've got all those endorphins flowing in your body. You've got it primed. It's almost like foreplay, right? You don't want to just jump right in. You want to like warm up, right? So that's what we think about like warming up. So if you're just doing a caning scene, I'm going to just do like tap, 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 and I'm going to like warm you up, get it like a little bit red everywhere that I'm going to hit you. Right. And now I've primed that specific area to be hit. Right.
Okay. And when you say get it a little bit red, does that mean that's starting low and you're already starting to hit a little bit? Or is that just like,
think about, if you were like, imagine a drumstick, you want to start with like a drum roll, like pa, 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 pa. You know, hit slow or hit low in terms of intensity. And then and the slow refers to the buildup. So you want to build up slowly. And then again, if I'm considering a scene that's just caning, then I'm going to do slow buildup of intensity. I'm going to reach a peak of intensity, maybe giving my partner like as much as 10 seconds in between strikes to really process that pain. Right. And then I'm going to go like back down the slope. I'm going to hit more gently until I'm just barely tapping. And then they know that scene is over. So you're sort of psychologically setting that stage of intensity coming up from 0 all the way to 10 or 5 or whatever level of intensity you want to get to, and then coming back down to 0. So you've got, your partner gets to feel that conclusion. Right.
Yeah, no, this is helpful because when I think about a scene, I always thought that was kind of intimidating, because to me, I thought a scene had to be like you're coming up with characters and things are happening. But that in that context, the way you're putting it, a scene is just, okay, now I'm going to use the cane on you. And it's just that like peak of, working up with your hits and then
the whole experience of whatever toy we're using.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be like we're acting.
Exactly. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It doesn't always have to be role play. I mean, it can be, but what I would say is do one thing at a time, and then it's not going to be so intimidating. You can have a scene that's just flogging. Now we're going to practice flogging. That one's got a little bit more technical skill involved, but it's not impossible, right? And so you're going to have a scene that's just flogging. You're going to start light in your intensity, build up to the point where you've got it really intense. You're giving your partner some time to process those really intense hits, and then you're going to come back down, right? And then next time, maybe you feel comfortable picking up both the flogger and the cane. And in the same way that we're like building up intensity, you want to take like the less intense thing and use that first, and then build up to the more intense thing, and then come back to the less intense thing.
Okay.
Right. So if it was floggers and canes, I would start with the flogger.
Yeah.
Then I would do the cane, and then I'd come back to the flogger.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
And you don't have to be religious about it. Like you're not going to like, she's not going to leave you just because you didn't use the flogger after, I mean, it's like, so, but it's a good sort of like rule to go by.
Yeah. Okay.
Sort of like prime the body, don't go straight for the highest intensity. And then on the other side, also don't go straight from 100 to nothing.
Exactly. Yeah. My mentor, you don't want to be like, whack. All right, now we're done. and they're
Yeah.
still like processing that, right?
Mhm.
My mentor used to say it's like the lobster in the boiling water, right? If you drop the lobster in the hot boiling water, it's going to suffer a lot. But if you put it in and then turn the heat on, then the lobster is boiled alive without even noticing.
Yeah.
Just instantly boiled alive.
Pretty much.
Not like we care too much about what a lobster thinks on its last moments, I guess, but
Lobsters don't have feelings. But...
the other way to think about it too is if you jumped into a shower, as hot as it might have been in the end of the shower, like it would probably hurt. Right. But if you jump into the shower, it's warm, and then you turn the heat up, and then you get used to it and you turn the heat up, then you can get the shower like pretty hot, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So the body's the same way.
Okay.
I think what's helpful for me in this moment is, again, thinking about scenes not as like, oh, I'm going to be the bank robber, or you're going to be the damsel in distress, and more like centering them around
the experience
and the toys that we're using.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, and you want to build confidence around specific toys, right? You want to be able to develop, you want to be able to know what you're doing, so you're not like worried you're doing it wrong in the moment. So another good way to build that confidence is with like hitting pillows, right? Because there's a certain amount of like accuracy that's required.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Especially with the flogger, you're going to find that one. It's the cane's really straightforward, right?
It sounds like maybe the cane is a good place to start. As far as being accurate and not too overly painful.
Sure. Yeah, maybe. I'd say the only thing you want to watch out for with the cane is you don't want to hit with the tip. You want to hit with like the last part, so that because the tip can dig in a little bit to the person depending on like the roughness of the tip. Right.
Okay. I see.
And so like if like this is the surface, I don't want to like hit here. I want to hit here.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And it'll actually give you even a little bit more bang for your buck, because there's some like the cane will come down and sort of push in a little bit more because it's flexing. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
That does make sense. Yeah.
Avoid jamming the tip.
Yes.
No tips. No tips.
Not in this case.
Yeah. No. And then flogging's interesting. You can get a lot of different sensations with floggers. Like, so if you're just using the tips, they're like stingier. If you're using like the middle of it, it's super thuddy. So when you get a chance to play with it, use the pillow and sort of see like what kind of different sounds can you create, because the sound is going to be really indicative of what the sensation is, right? Yeah. You think about like the middle of the flogger. If I like lean into it and hit with the middle of the flogger, then it's kind of like a punch sensation. Whereas if I hit with the tips, if I'm like really just kind of whipping it, then that's really like a slap sensation.
Yeah, like more stingy.
Yeah. And most people prefer thud or sting. Some people are like right in the middle, but generally there's a preference.
I like both. I like both. Really hard thuds and really stingy stings. So the flogger I have that I have yet to use is more of like, it's barbed. It's like, looks like barbed wire, but it's leather.
Yeah, I got one of those.
Yeah, and I haven't necessarily done a scene with one. I've just kind of played with one, but it is kind of like a larger barbed flogger.
You got it at DomCon, didn't you?
I'm not too sure. I got it online during the quarantine. I upped on my toy game, but I can't remember where I got it. Yeah. There's a
guy I know that goes to DomCon, and he sells gigantic floggers and he loves the barbed wire leather pieces. Hey everybody, it's Ezra, and wow, isn't that exciting? Wouldn't you like to be the next guest on our show? Well, you can. Just email askezra8@gmail.com. And hey, if being on the show is too much and you'd just like to get some private intimacy coaching, that's available too. Now back to our show. So let's talk about initiating. So I think like initiating play, it can be a challenge for a lot of people.
Yeah.
I have a lot of people who switch for their partners, right? And sometimes you guys both identify as switch. It's a little not as bad as when it's two people that identify as bottoms but will switch, right? That's pretty bad because nobody wants to start. Yeah, nobody wants to do anything. So there's actually a strategy that I like a lot, and it's using chance. So you don't have to make a choice. Neither one of you has to make a choice. So you roll the die, and the die tells you what to do.
And this is essentially deciding who is directing the scene or how we're about to play, or
well, that's the only choice you have to make is what the choice the die makes, right?
Right.
So you can have you can get a whole like Dungeons and Dragons die set, right? And it comes with a D6, a D20, D12, D10, all that, right? So you could do all kinds of things. So like you can have one roll for who's on top. You can have one roll for what day is it happening. You have another roll for, you can put all your toys on a list and then roll, and whatever number it hits is what toy you're going to use.
That is a good idea.
That sounds fun.
Yeah.
You know, it's interesting because all of a sudden you've got a DS dynamic with chance.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you've actually, the die are your dom.
Yeah, that's true.
I like that a lot.
That's so true.
Yeah. That's cool.
Yeah.
That sounds fun.
Yeah.
I almost feel like we can make like a little wheel with the little arrow and just spin it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah.
Have it on the wall.
Get your kinky twister on.
Exactly.
Yeah. Now, the other thing that I want to sort of reassure you about is there is this fairy tale that we're all told that all these sexual things are supposed to happen instantaneously. And I think it might come from like when we're kids, everything fucking happens instantly. And when we're teenagers, like you can't keep your hands off each other. Sex just happens. You can't even stop it. Right.
Mm-hmm.
We're not teenagers anymore, you know, like, so there's nothing wrong with making a plan to be intimate. Right. In fact, it's like the best thing you can do for the relationship, because intimacy is like the mortar of relationships.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I think like we have no problems being intimate. It just happens usually when we hang out. But I think what's easy for us to slip into is it's very easy to kind of just, you know, we enjoy having sex with each other. We could just do it the more like straightforward way and kind of just fall into that. But we both really enjoy it when we take a second to, okay, let's not just kind of like totally follow our instincts, but take a second to plan something out, bring in some toys and stuff.
Yeah. It's been a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I feel like it's allowed us to get closer and like connect.
For sure.
Yeah. Well, and when I mean intimate, I mean like the whole host of sexual activities, right?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So like maybe sex happens spontaneously in your household, but you know, make it time for a date, right? And that also can be an interesting thing of like, when do you guys randomly go on dates, or do you have to like make a plan? Like at this point, both me and my partner work at home, and we both work for ourselves, and we both make our own schedules. And if we're not careful, we don't take any days off. So we absolutely need to plan dates. We're planning dates like months in advance, you know?
And it's funny because we were really, we don't do it months in advance. We do it maybe like, we'll make a plan for the next time we hang out as we're hanging out, you know?
Yeah.
But she got a new job recently. I got a new job. Our schedules have kind of been all over the place. And we kind of fell out of the habit of that a little bit.
We don't really have that.
And I think probably if we want to be using these toys more and be doing more like scenes and kinky stuff, probably what behooves us is to just like you're saying, like, plan it, schedule
make
it more.
A plan. Yeah. It's an investment in the relationship. You know, it's an investment in intimacy. And it's one of those things, like if you don't pay attention and make time to smell the roses, then the roses come and go.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah.
I really do want to, you know, I want us both to just have the best orgasms that we can, you know?
Exactly. I feel that.
Yeah.
What an excellent attitude.
Yeah, right?
Melissa, you got to keep her.
Lucky. I know.
I can't tell you how many people need convincing to give a shit about their partner's orgasms.
Exactly.
Well, orgasms are pretty awesome no matter what, but once you, I don't know, There's levels to it though.
There are
And once you
a
get
lot of levels.
that one orgasm, you just cannot go back.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. My favorite is the torture of not allowing the person refractory time. Like you bring them to orgasm with like maximum stimulation and then you just don't let up at all. And then it becomes torture instantly.
You know what? The magic wand.
Yes.
Yes. That's all I'm going to say.
Yes.
We haven't gone there yet, but
Make you squirm.
make you squirm too. Shit.
Right. Yeah. No, it's worse. It's worse for men.
Yeah.
I think. I don't know. I don't have a vagina, so
We'll find out.
I can't
We'll
really
find
say.
out.
Hey, everybody. It's Ezra. Do some of these challenges sound like some of the things you've been dealing with? Maybe your challenges are very different, but you just love to have somebody to work on them with. Well, you're not alone on your journey. I'm here to help. So email askezra8@gmail.com or visit us at askezra.info, and maybe we can set up a session where we just focus on you. All right, back to the last component of our show. Melissa, you said you want to dom more, but you also don't want to be like a dick, for lack of a better word. You don't want to be like
I don't
a
want to
jerk
be
about it.
off-putting. Like I like to, like I like to catch you off guard, or like just kind of. And I don't want to like, oh my gosh, or I like the element of surprise and like unexpected and like just when I want it, and I'm gonna do this.
Take charge.
Exactly, like ultimate take charge. Like you have no options. I want to do this, but I don't want to be.
Yeah. I hear you. You don't want to cross boundaries. You don't want to. So there's ways to do this, and so what I think would be most helpful is if you guys could negotiate some blanket consent, right?
Okay.
And in the most minor way, like an example is I have a play partner that I see at parties, and I've negotiated with her that I can just grab her butt anytime.
Okay.
Right. And if she feels like now's not a time to have her butt grabbed, she can tell me after I've done it, because I like to just sneak up behind her and just grab her ass with all the force I can muster.
That's exactly what I'm talking about. Yeah.
Exactly. Well, and that's a really isolated example, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you can negotiate with Nick to say, okay, like, what is it that I can do without asking?
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Right. And then it doesn't remove your agency. It doesn't remove your ability to say, you know what, I don't want that right now. You can still do that, right? That's not what this is.
Yeah, exactly.
This is permission to act with specific boundaries without checking in at that moment.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, which is essentially consensual non-consent.
Exactly, which I love.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So that's something that you should have a discussion about. The other thing that you ought to have a discussion about is what kind of sub are you, Nick? Right? Or like, so that Melissa can be sensitive to that. Right.
Yeah.
And two things that come immediately to mind are mommy dom and daddy dom.
Yes.
And it doesn't mean that Nick has to be a little. It just means that the energy that Melissa comes to the table with can be either like masculine nurturing or maternal nurturing, right? And we live in the 21st century. You don't have to be genderqueer. You could just take it on. You can be daddy if you want. That can be tailored to what Nick needs, right? That can be tailored to like, so more than what activities do you want to do? What feelings do you want? How do you want to feel? Do you want to feel like a precious object, or do you want to feel like a cared for person, or like how do you want to feel in that submissive engagement, right?
That's a good one. I like that.
Can you, because I don't even really know what it means to be more, I think if I'm remembering the words you used right, the masculine nurturing versus this like feminine nurturing, or like a masculine dom versus like a feminine dom. Like I'm not even really sure what.
Yeah.
There.
It's tough because they're different for different people, right?
Sure.
typically like mommy dom stuff is like, you're okay, I've got you, I'm here for you, you did such a good job, sort of like more focused on nurturing and warmth, qualities of a mother, right?
Mhm.
And then masculine energy is more challenging, more, I know you can do this, I'm here for you, you got this kind of thing.
Good girl.
Do it for daddy. Is less nurturing typically, but not necessarily,
Yeah.
right? But it's also, it's tough because we're talking about feelings, right? And feelings
Yeah.
are,
Right.
wiggly. The other thing to think about is what level of power are you interested in giving up in that moment, right? And so I like to talk about the scale between top and master, right? And dom is somewhere in the middle. The top
Yes.
doesn't take any power. The top, everybody makes decisions together.
Mhm.
And maybe if you guys are using the die, then the die is the dominant, and you guys are just topping or bottoming, right?
Mhm.
You haven't been, nobody's relegated to making decisions. The master or the owner, because that's more palatable for some people,
Mhm.
is making all of the decisions, right?
Okay.
And the
Yeah.
dom is making like some of the decisions,
Mhm.
Okay.
right? So you can maybe describe yourself as like a percentage master, percentage dom, percentage daddy kind of thing. Like,
Yeah.
not that that's like a hard science, but those can sort of help us flesh out like, how do we feel? How do we want to feel? And there's sort of two parts to this equation. It's, Nik, how do you want to feel? And Melissa, how do you want to feel? Specific to that, Melissa's doming Nik. And then that's a separate conversation of how do you want to feel Melissa? How do you want to feel Nik when Nik is doming Melissa?
Yeah.
Okay.
I like that.
Yeah.
Because I do get in my small space where I like have my stuffed animals and I like to lay on the floor and like with my blankie and stuff. And then I have my space also where I want to just feel like a piece of meat or feel like a rag doll.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like when I'm in my small space, I feel like I want more of the nurturing kind of like caressing, holding, cuddling.
Like the more like femdom kind of thing.
Yeah. But then when I'm like playtime, if I'm getting beat or choked or something, like I want to feel like a piece of meat.
Yeah.
I don't want any choices.
Yeah. There you go. So more like an object or slave.
Exactly.
Yeah.
A slave. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I hope you've enjoyed the first episode of the Ask Ezra podcast. If you'd like to be kept up to date about upcoming episodes, classes, book discounts, anything like that, then email us at askezra8@gmail.com and just let us know you'd like to be added to the mailing list. Thanks for watching.